Hi, I'm Derek Coates with Dormicaba. Today we're going to look at installing the E7900 mortise lock. Now, I've got my little mounting block here. I've got my tools. I've got my lock all spread out here. I've also got a luxury you don't have. You'll see me in part of this. I'm probably just going to lay the door down. Kind of hard to lay down a full-size door on a job site, but I'm cheating here, so tough. So I've got my tools here. What I've got handy is a number 2 Phillips for the face plates. I've got a number 3 Phillips for driving in the screws for the mortise, a little bit bigger screws. And then I've got a 1/8 inch hex here for the actual mounting screws. So I'm gonna keep my hand screwdriver here handy also, just in case. But I'm gonna start out by putting my mortise cassette in here. Helps a little bit. This version actually has door status on it, so when the anti-pick is pushed in, it's going to tell me that the door is closed. I'm going to pre-bend this wire just a little bit, just to try to make it a little easier to feed through the door. I got to catch it out of this hole up top. So, I guess I pre-bent it the wrong way. I had it going easy earlier. You know, you prep for these things and everything works great, and then you're doing a video and stuff doesn't want to line up. There we go. So I got it fed through the hole there. One thing I forgot to do ahead of time was take this faceplate off, but that's okay, I can do it right now. Run these 2 screws out. And I do have to depress the latch just a little bit to release the faceplate, because there's a hook there that catches on it. I'm going to swap over to my number 3 bit, my Phillips 3. Run these screws in. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just put my faceplate back on so it's out of the way and I'm not scratching it up or anything like that. Keeps me from losing it. Just go ahead and put these number 2s back on. And this is actually where I tend to grab my handheld screwdriver, because I'm a little picky on these. I like to have my screws face the same direction. And of course, you know, my mount's not exactly prepped exactly right, so my faceplate's sticking out a little here at the bottom. Try to loosen these screws and see if I can get to push up just a little bit. This mount may not be prepped as accurate as your door would. So if your door's prepped accurately, these screws run in and the faceplate sits flush. My little demo mount here is not quite as accurate, so that's okay. All right. So this is for a right-hand door. So I'm gonna have my face of the lock on this side, the back of the lock back here by me. But I wanna prep something before I get there. This is my inside housing. So you see the lever just kind of spins right now, either direction. So I've gotta set my handing. So it's gonna go on the mount like this. So I want the handle to face away from the latch, of course. So I've got a spring here that needs to be installed on this, and this is my lever return spring. Actually, that's my privacy spring. Sorry, when I was setting out my parts earlier, I didn't set out the other springs. Let me grab it real fast out of the bag here. The actual lever return spring is a thicker spring. There it is. So this is my lever return spring. It mounts right here on the end of this piece and goes down to this piece. Real easy. So now the lever returns. There's also a privacy spring to move this carriage up and down, keeps it held down, and then when the lever's turned, it lifts that carriage up. So I've got it right here. It's a smaller spring. And it goes on the other side. The easiest way I've ever found these is kind of hook it out here on the outside and slide it back till it catches in that hole. And then we're gonna hook it on the bottom. So there. Now when I turn the handle, it lifts that and everything pops back down the way it should. So this is now prepped for a right-handed door. The outside housing, there's no real prep on it. The stem here is where we put the lever on once we get it on the door, and that sets the handing. But for right now, I need my spindle. And again, I didn't set it out. There it is. Set it to the side earlier. Now, our spindles go on as a diamond, not a square. It's very important when you try to go put it on the door. If you have it set like a square like this, it's not going to go through the mortise cassette. So make sure you're installing it as a diamond. Push it in until you hear that snap. So it's in there good. The other thing I've got to do on this one, this version of lock, this exact model, has a privacy switch in here. So I've got my privacy spindle, and I just snap it in. Holds really good. When you snap it in, it's in there. But also if you prep your door right, this washer kind of helps keep it from backing out also. So got my door here. This lock happens to have a lot of options. It's got door ajar, or your door status, sorry. It's got your request to exit for that lever turn on the inside. It's got the Zigbee. It's got everything in there. So I've got to get all these wires through this door. So I'm gonna slide them through. They actually feed through pretty easy. Slide them through, let my spindles go through where they need to be at the same time. And it all goes through there pretty easy. And the lock really stands by itself on the door, so I'm not worried about it falling off on me. You know, if you're bumping around, you might knock it off. It actually sits there pretty well. So now I've got to put the back side on here. Remember I talked earlier about these little standoffs, especially for like a hollow metal door or something, you really want to use these. Really, for any door, it's a good idea to use these. Keeps from cranking down the back housing too much also. They just slide right there in the holes. So now I've got my inside housing. This is where it gets a tad more difficult. We'll go ahead and prep my screwdriver here with the correct bit so I can put these mounting screws in real easily. Got them set here. So the hardest part about this is just getting all these wires plugged up where they go. Now one of these wires actually just plugs right in because it's that door jar status. That one plugs in. Where is it? Oops. When I pushed it through, it didn't make it all the way through. Might be a little easier to get it from the other side because it's actually pretty short. So I'm going to take and send that wire through to the other side. That's the one that comes off our mortise cassette for my door status. So I'm going to slide it through this other side and go ahead and plug it in. Now again, you may not have all these wires. It depends on the options you ordered with your lock. But I slid that right through. Get my other wires in place, and I'm just gonna stuff it back inside the door. So now I've got my 4 wires coming through for the inside housing, 4 wires here, and it's really just plugging everything in where it goes. So there's only one way to plug all this in. Everything matches with something else. Let's see, that goes that direction. They're all keyed, so you can't plug them in the wrong way. It's just getting them all lined up and plugged in. One last one's this short one down here. Like I said, you get this many wires, it's just a little fun kind of hold things in place. Now some of these you could stuff back inside the door. Some of them there's a little space here in the back housing that you can just let them set. It's really recommended when you install these to get them kind of angled right, where you end up with a drip loop on them. So we've talked about before with condensation coming through the door. The one thing you didn't see me install here is I'm just mounting it on a demo block, is this little gasket that really should have been used. That right there goes on the outside, goes underneath the lock on the outside to help seal this up. My little mount here, I didn't do it. But on the inside, you really want to get these wires set where you have a little bit of a drip loop. So they go down and back up. So if any condensation does build in here, it can just follow these and kind of drip down off of them rather than setting on the connectors themselves. So I'm gonna get all this kind of pushed out of my way, line everything up, make sure I'm not running anything in front of a screw hole, of course. See if I can get all this lined up where it goes in. And yeah, I've got one of these that's trying to get in my way of my screws. And this one is probably the worst example just because there are so many wires in this one that gives me a lot to have to work around here. Depending on the options you order, you may or may not have this many wires. Let me get this where I can see both sides of it. I think I got my wires out of my way that side. Let's see if I can get them out of the way on this side. Okay, I'm going to take and start my screws off just by hand a little bit, just to get them in place. I'm going to take my screwdriver and run them in. Do not over crank these. You don't want to tighten it down and torque the door or anything like that. So you do want them tight. You don't want them working loose, but don't over crank them. So I've got them tightened down here, holding everything in. I'm going to turn my lever and make sure everything's flowing the way it should. My deadbolt's working. This is not an auto deadbolt, so the anti-pick's not going to throw it. It's actually a standard deadbolt thrown with thumb turn. But everything's working good there. My lever's retracting everything like it should. So I think I'm good there. So I'm going to turn my door around a little bit. Ah, there was my spring. Now, I'm going to put my key override in. Now, we have a video specific on this if you want to watch it. This key override can sometimes be a little bit of a pain to put in if you hadn't done it much. So, we did make a separate video for that. I'm going to get this ready. And I'm going to take my little tool here, and if you watch my other video, I'm going to lay this down so we can see it a little bit. I talk about this little cross in here and the way that the little indentations need to be pointed up and down. That allows that little lever catch right here to go up so I can put the lever on. So, got that in there. Take my lever, put it on, let it slide back in all the way. And if I can't remove the keyway, like I can't here, I did it backwards. So that's my fault. Sometimes it's good to show you what you can do wrong here. So there's actually an instruction sheet in there that shows how to put these on and what angle it should be turned. For a right-hand door, this little indentation here should actually be up about 45 degrees, up at about 2 o'clock or so. Then when I put it on, I can slowly rotate it back in place. There we go. And it locks in place, and now my key removes. So if the key doesn't remove like it did in the first time, I know I did it wrong. I did it for a left-hand door, and this is a right-hand. Key removes, I know I did it right. And the ultimate test, turn the key, latch retracts. Let the key off. Oops. Oh, this one's set on lock right now. Ultimate test of Derek did it wrong. Was that right there? All right. Let's get my keyway in here right. Let's get it in place. Okay, there we go. So my door's locked, can't turn it. And my door's unlocked. Okay. Oh, there we go, hold on. And I actually have it installed wrong. This is why I did a video specifically on the key override. Hey, I do this and I still did it wrong. So, put it on. I turned it the wrong way when I put it on. Guys, like I said, this is why I made that video specifically for this one. It's because I can put this thing on wrong. That's my fault. Right hand goes there. I've goofed. Guys, it's my fault. There we go, there we go. Okay, so door's locked. This is a clutched lever, so the lever will still turn, but the lock doesn't release. But if I put my key override in, turn it, it does. Sorry, my fault earlier when I had hooked it up wrong. So, got my levers on. Everything's the way it should be. Everything's looking good. Last thing to do is put my batteries in. So, it's 4 AA batteries. Get right in here. And there's a battery cover. Now once I put those batteries in, I heard that motor go whir, just a little zzz, to let me know it was powered up. These are little Torx screws. We actually include the little Torx wrench in the package to put these on with. So put those on. And they're good. Locked on the outside, unlocked on the inside, and last check, my key override unlocks it, locks it back. So that's how to install the E7900 Mortise lock. Thank you very much.